Hello, so today I want to talk about the Neville book, At Your Command, and in particular I want to talk about chapter 3 because I've been listening to it a few times recently and he says something very interesting, which is all about breaking out of your current self-concept into a new self-concept, essentially telling yourself a new story about yourself and about your life, and breaking free of subconscious patterns. He actually gives a method in there to kind of overcome it, which I think is amazing, and I'll share it with you. One of the things he says in chapter 3 is that you cannot take with you into the new consciousness any part of the old man. So to have what you want, or to kind of quantum leap, I guess, into a new self-concept, you kind of have to, I think he says this before, like die to the current you, die to the present you. So the you that you're being right now essentially has to die, and you have to take on a new self-concept in consciousness. So he says that any part of the old man, all of your present beliefs, fears and limitations are weights that bind you to your present level of consciousness. If you would transcend this level, then you must leave behind all that is now your present self or conception of yourself to do this. So basically, to kind of quantum leap into a new self-concept, we need to kind of take our attention away from everything that we're telling ourselves now, our beliefs, our stories, our fears, our limitations, and to kind of like remake ourselves anew. And he says that there's a way to do this, and his method is to take your attention away from all that is now, your problem or your limitation, and you just dwell upon just being. So you just kind of get quiet with yourself and just be. He says that you can say silently but feelingly to yourself, I am. I am. And so we're not attaching anything to our concept, our self-concept. We're not attaching anything to I am. And I am is the creator. And when we get to that pure potential, that I am, he says, do not condition this awareness as yet. And that really stuck out to me. Because if we're trying to jump from one story to another, from one self-concept to another, we can probably easily fall back. But if by going into just the pure formless awareness that I am, we're not conditioning any concept. We're letting go of the old story. We're letting go of the current self-concept and who we believe we are and all of our limitations and all of our fears. We're not just jumping into the next one. We're just kind of letting it go and going into the silence, as he would say. He says, just say silently but feelingly to yourself, I am. Do not condition this awareness as yet. Just declare yourself to be and continue to do so until you are lost in the feeling of just being. Faceless and formless. When this expansion of consciousness is attained, then within this formless depth of your being, give form to the new conception by feeling yourself to be that which you desire to be. So he kind of says first, just go into the formlessness, lost in that feeling of just being, and just not having to think or do, just be, and just sit in that presence of being and that presence of oneness. He says that when you do that, and you've got that feeling of expansion, then you can give form to the new conception by feeling yourself to be that which you desire to be. So once you've expanded into the totality that you are, just I am, just formless awareness, then you can create a new self-concept from there. He says you will find within this deep of yourself all things to be divinely possible. Everything in the world which you can conceive of being is to you within this present formless awareness. And that's like, You can even say it's like going into the quantum, going into the subconscious mind, going into the all, going into the imagination. I guess it's where we go in meditation or when we go into sleep as well. He says, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven that is within, except that you leave behind you your present conception of yourself and assume the nature of the new birth. So if we don't leave our current self behind, we'll continue to outpicture our present limitations. He says the only way to change your expression of life is to change your consciousness, for consciousness is the reality that eternally solidifies itself. He says man's world in its every detail is his consciousness outpictured. Begin to revalue yourself.